Francisco. Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to continue our NFL predictions with Week 13, aka Thanksgiving Week. No one's on a bye week. Last week, my record was 10-3, pretty good week for me, and my total season record is 164. And once Thanksgiving week ends, we're now getting to the real NFL season starts. We get to find out who are real the playoff spots. We do have a playoff clinching scenario this week, just to keep that in bucked. And now for predictions, I decided for Thanksgiving week, I want to do something a little different. Shake things up a bit. Cause last year I did throwback logos. The year before that I did real objects, inanimate objects. This year I'm gonna highlight some of the famous fans of these NFL teams. Like with this one, where the Chicago Bears will be taking on the Detroit Lions. Representing the Bears, we have our 44th president, Barack Obama. And for the Detroit Lions, streamer, YouTuber, Ninja. Bears last week, yeah, they just keep finding unique ways to lose games. Caleb Williams played very, very well, but special teams, they let them down yet again. Another blocked field goal. And as for the Detroit Lions, do what they do best. Win. Ground and pound game, beating the Colts. They didn't really have to do much in that one either. Now, history shows the Lions have not won a Thanksgiving game since 2016. And it was against, I believe, it was against the Vikings that time. And they have not, even in the Dan Campbell era, he is still seeking his first Thanksgiving win. And with being 10-point favorites, I think they have a perfect chance to get their first Thanksgiving win, what feels like to be 8 years. So I'm going to roll up the Lions to win, and I just hope that Brian doesn't get mauled by Lions this year. Next up we have is the Thanksgiving game, in which the New York Football Giants will be taking on the Dallas Cowboys. And representing the New York Giants, I have Lady Gaga. She has spoken out her affiliations with the Giants. And for the Cowboys, yeah, they have a bunch of famous fans, but I decided to go with Jamie Foxx because he is like the biggest. He has a lot with the organization, more than you think. Giants. Now onto the game itself. The Giants, yeah, tanking against the Buccaneers. Tommy DeVito, he did not do well. And for the Cowboys, some way, somehow, they won against the Commanders. Honestly, don't know how they did it. That fourth quarter game was, whew, that was one of the weirdest fourth quarters I've ever seen since someone said since that Ravens and Vikings game that happened a decade ago. If you know, you know. And with this game being played in Dallas, normally I would pick the Cowboys in this situation. However, the Cowboys have been the epitome of trash at home. But they are taking on a super trash team in the New York Giants, a team that's actively tanking. I gotta go with the Cowboys to get their first home win of the season, and it might be their only one they gonna get this year. And then rounding up Thanksgiving Day, we have the Miami Dolphins taking on the Green Bay Packers. Representing the Miami Dolphins, we have pop singer Fergie, and representing Green Bay Packers, we have Lil Wayne, because I remember him doing a green and yellow song when the Packers went to the Super Bowl. So, for the Dolphins, they are on a roll right now. Ever since Tua came back, this team has won 3 or 4 straight. They got a big win, division win over the New England Patriots, getting the season sweep. And hey, the Dolphins are in the thick of things when it comes to the playoff hunt. And I can say the same for Green Bay, getting a blowout win over the 49ers. Granted, the Niners were out there starting quarterback, leading pass rusher, no left tackle. Yeah, it was much easier for the Packers than expected. And I think this game here could go in any direction. And since this game is in Lambeau, I was gonna pick the Packers. However, I'm gonna base this one on momentum. Dolphins right now are on a roll. So I feel fergaliciously confident that I'm gonna go with the Miami Dolphins to win on the road on Thanksgiving night. And then we have a Black Friday game, and oh god, we got another awful game with the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Representing the Raiders, we have rapper Ice Cube, and representing the Chiefs, I have Jason Sudeikis. And no, I'm not having Taylor Swift in this position. She grew up an Eagles or a Steelers fan. Shut up. Raiders, yeah, they're like the Giants. They're in a tanking mode. And now things are going to get worse as Gardner Minshew, he is out for the year with a broken collarbone, which means they're going to be starting. And with Aiden O'Connell already on IR, that means they're starting. Hold on, let me look this up. Desmond Ridder. I'm just going to stop right there. Yes, I know the Chiefs. Y'all almost lost to the worst team, one of the worst teams in football, the Carolina Panthers. This one should be a sound victory. But the Chiefs have made winning a lot harder this year than you think. And now we're on a Sunday slate of games. We have first off with the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Representing the Chargers, we have Mario Lopez. And representing the Falcons, rapper Offset. Chargers, Monday night game, they lost to the Baltimore Ravens, where Quentin Johnson couldn't catch a cold in a negative 5-degree weather. He was just awful that day. And meanwhile, the Falcons, they're coming off a bye week, but last time we saw them, oof, they got destroyed on the road by the Denver Broncos. And yet they're probably one of the best teams, they're probably still the best team in the NFC South. And that division has been trashed for 3 years, and this year's kind of not different. With this game being played in Atlanta, this is another one of those games that could go in any direction. It depends if the right teams show up at the right time. If both teams both come to play, this could be a really good game. But consistency has always been the problem with kind of both of these teams. However, I'm feeling the Chargers winning this game. It's mostly because of their defense. I'm gonna bank on their defense getting the job done. But I do think the Falcons will make this a good battle. I'll give them that. And now we have the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Representing the Steelers, we have is rapper Wiz Khalifa, because we all know he did a song Black and Yellow. And representing the Cincinnati Bengals, we have 98 Degrees frontman Nick Lachey. The Steelers, coming off of Thursday night loss, questionable decision and questionable coaching by Mike Tomlin in that snow game. Also dealing with Mr. Crash Out in George Pickens at the end of that game. And meanwhile, the Bengals coming off a bye week where they probably gave up 38 points in that bye week. But hey, their defense have been a serious problem this year. Joe Burrow, the offense, they're giving it everything they have this year. The defense have been letting them down in droves. Hopefully during this bye week, they figure things out. And I was going to lean towards the Cincinnati Bengals because it's a must-win situation. But something in my gut, and usually my gut has been wrong, especially as of recently. Pittsburgh, this might be a typical BS win for the Steelers. Because on paper, the Bengals, they could get into a high-scoring shootout with the Steelers, which, again, they have an offense. Russell Wilson in the snow was throwing dimes. And, yeah, I think this one could be a high-scoring game. I think whoever holds on to the ball last will win this game. And right now, Pittsburgh, they just know how to win games. So I'm going to roll with the Steelers to win. Next up we is the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Representing Representing the Cardinals is countryman Blake Shelton. And representing the Vikings is Chris Jericho. Cardinals, coming off a bye week, I was very disappointed in their performance. They had a bye week, and yet the offense only scored 6 points on the road to Seattle. Yes, Seattle is a tough place to play, but I mean, it wasn't the case for Buffalo or even the Giants this year. But the Cardinals only got 6 points. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in them. And the Vikings, road victory over the Bears, where they nearly gave the game away, but they did pull it off late. So in this one, this is another one of those games that could go in any direction. There's a lot of games this week that could be a coin flip. And with this one being in Minnesota, and I trust the Vikings defense, can't believe that's coming out of my mouth, I'm going to roll with Chris Jericho in the Minnesota Vikings. And now we have something. We have the Indianapolis Colts taking on the New England Patriots. Representing the Colts, we have is Rob Lowe. And representing the Patriots, John Bon Jovi. And in this game, well, the Colts, yeah, they crashed right back to earth against the Detroit Lions. And frankly, I'm not going to fault them too much for it because Detroit is the best team in the league. And the Patriots, yeah, they got killed by Miami. And now I'm starting to hear some questions about their defense. But to be fair, I don't want to hear any excuses for the Patriots. They are in a rebuild mode. And people who think Gerard Mayo's in the hot seat, they need to shut up. It's only the first year of his job. They know this team was going to be bad. Yeah. And yeah, this one I think is going to be a bit of a toss-up. I don't expect a lot of scoring in this one. I almost leaned toward the Patriots to win this game. But I'm going to go with the Colts, giving them a slight edge in this one. And they could thank their running game for that. And now we have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the New York Jets. Representing the Seahawks is rapper Macklemore. And representing the New York Jets, actor, comedian Adam Sandler. You can see he's wearing a Jets shirt. Seahawks getting a big NFC West win over the Arizona Cardinals. And not only was it a big win, it was a season-saving win. Because they would have lost, they would have been in very, very bad shape. Meanwhile, for the Jets, this team, well, they had a bye week last week, but this season has been a whole mess. Just endure the suffering, Jets. Just endure it. Because Rodgers has destroyed this team. I'm still blaming him for it. And it's almost over. I think I had this team as the number 1 seed in the AFC at the preseason. Yep, that's one of my coldest takes since, well, me predicting the Panthers would win an NFC South in 2023. But that's another discussion for another day. So this game, yeah, I'm going with Seattle to win. Jets are just too big of a mess for me to trust. Although they are favored in this one. Weird. And that takes us to the Tennessee Titans taking on the Washington Commanders. Representing the Titans, I have country singer Tim McGraw. And representing the Commanders, I have NBA basketball player Kevin Durant. The Titans getting a win over the Houston Texans. A big divisional win where pretty much I think Tony Pollard, he played a really, really good game. It goes to show you that the Titans, they have talent on their roster. They're just not that good of a team. But that week, they did get it done. I'll give them that. Meanwhile, the Commanders losing to the Dallas Cowboys in the weirdest fashion, again, as anyone's seen. And we could tell, but the offense in the first three and a half quarters, they were just flat. And we go to show that Jada Daniels, that rib's still hurting him. He's playing through an injury. And they're not learning from RG3 lessons. So in this game, I know the Titans they're coming off a win, but this is a perfect get right game for the Commanders. I'm going to roll with them to win this game. But if the Titans pull off an upset, it's time to start ringing the concerns in DC. And next up we have is the Houston Texans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Representing the Texans is Iceman rapper Paul Wall. And representing the Jacksonville Jaguars, Lil Duval. And the last time these two teams played, they played earlier this year, was around week 4 or week 5, where the Texans won. I think they won like 24-20, something like that. But Houston, I've been very disappointed in. And most of it boils down to the offensive line, which has caused CJ Stroud to go through a sophomore slump. And meanwhile, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they had a bye week, but yeah, they're just riding out the season, get a new regime, fire everybody, especially Trent Baalke, because who knows if Trevor Lawrence is coming back this year. I wouldn't if I was him. And yeah, Houston on paper should win this game, but this is an AFC South matchup. You never know in these type of games. And next up we have is the Los Angeles Rams taking on the New Orleans Saints. And representing the Rams, I have Danny Trejo. I probably said his name wrong. And representing the New Orleans Saints is Louisiana native pop star Britney Spears. Rams getting ran over by the Philadelphia Eagles. Really, they just let one man beat them in that game. And the Saints coming off a bye week, but they're coming off a 2-game winning streak since firing their coach Dennis Allen. That's a good sign. This game is really going to show me who's going to have a shot at the playoffs. And given momentum, I was going to lean towards the Saints in this one, but this is another one of my gut picks. I'm going to roll with the Rams to win this game. I like them on paper. And I think last week just chalked it up to them playing a better and more superior, talented Eagles team. And next we have is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Carolina Panthers. Representing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, ESPN commentator and fan favorite Dick Vitale. And representing the Carolina Panthers, the greatest shooter of all time, Golden State Warrior basketball player Stephen Curry. The Bucks, after a 4-game losing streak, they got their first win, and you could thank the return of Mike Evans. That really helped them out. Also, their running game too. And the Panthers, look, they were supposed to lose by double digits against the Kansas City Chiefs, but the fact that they fought and managed to tie the game, eventually losing on a go-ahead field goal by the Chiefs. I know moral victories don't count in the NFL, but this is one moral victory that has to occur in this week. Panthers hanging in there. Bryce Young, he looks like he's getting better and better as the weeks go on. The running game for the Panthers doing well, and I know the defense isn't good, but they are a far cry from what they were back in week 7 when they played the Commanders. And in this game, this one's going to be interesting, because if the Panthers play like they play, I would say they have a shot to win. It's at home. It's an afternoon game. I think they have a shot. However, I do think Tampa is the more talented team in this one. So I'm going to roll with the Buccaneers to win. And then we have our Sunday night game against the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Buffalo Bills. Representing the 49ers is rapper E40. And representing the Bills, we have ESPN longtime commentator Chris Boom Berman. And in this game, we have a playoff clinching scenario. And that scenario is the Bills could clinch the AFC East with a win and a Miami loss. And with Miami winning, I think this is a bit of a long shot to happen, but it can happen. 49ers, yeah, they're riding the injury bug yet again. No Brock Purdy, no Nick Bosa, no Trent Williams. I think they had a top corner out, and as a result, blown out and unprepared against the Green Bay Packers. Meanwhile, the Bills, okay, they had a bye week last week, but the last time we saw them, they became the first team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs this year. It would be the Bills. And hopefully at the bye week, they have time to simmer down a bit, because if they would have played a game next week, they might have been in that trap situation. I will say that. But luckily, they had a bye week to regather their thoughts, regroup, and round up the troops. And in this game, I will say this. If the 49ers were fully healthy, I could lean towards with the Niners to win this one. But since they're not, I'm going to roll with the Buffalo Bills to get an... They should get the win here. I'm not going to say it's going to be dominant, but I think the 49ers are going to go in there with a fight. Right now, I'm just feeling the Bills in this one. And then on Monday Night Football, we have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Denver Broncos. Representing the Browns, we have the host of Family Feud, author, comedian Steve Harvey. And representing the Broncos, we have Lindsey Vonn. I forgot what she do, but I think she's like a skier or Winter Olympian, something like that. But anyway, the Browns picked up their third win of the season, their second in the division against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the snow. It was a come from behind victory, and the Browns got their third win. Meanwhile, for the Broncos, the overachievers completing the season sweep of the Las Vegas Raiders. That's good to see. And because my voice is about to go out, I'm going to keep this very, very brief. With this game being played at home, I'm going to roll with the Denver Broncos to win this game. But for the Browns, I mean, this could be a fight. Maybe. And finally, we have our game of the week. We have the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The battle of two African American quarterbacks. And representing for their famous fans, we have 5'4" midget, aka he's my height, Kevin Hart. And on the other side, for the Ravens, we have the greatest athlete to ever live in Michael Phelps. Yeah, I said it. Eagles. Well, let me take that back. Saquons. They ran all over the Rams. Saquon had a historic day against them, setting the single game rushing record for the Eagles. Thank you, Giants, for that. And the Eagles, now thinking about it, they have not lost a single game since week 4. And I do have a hypothesis theory on why this is the case. And no, it's not because of Saquon, because ever since A.J. Brown came back and the team got healthy, this team has been winning ever since. Just keep that in mind. Meanwhile, for the Ravens, Big Brother John beat Little Brother Jim on the road on Monday Night Football, where Derrick Henry looked like he got back to normal after a very, very off game against the Steelers. And in this one, if there was a team that could stop Saquon, it would be the Ravens, because they have the top-ranked rushing defense. If only their passing defense could match up that intensity. The Ravens, I think, could have a day to shut them down. However, and Lamar, not to mention Lamar's record against the NFC is historically great. However, the Eagles, they are playing, if it wasn't for the Lions, I would say they're playing the best football of any team at this point. So, yeah, as much as it hates me to say this, I'm going for the grown midget known as Kevin Hart and his Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. But don't worry, they'll be exposed soon. I'm just waiting. And that concludes our NFL predictions. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Please gamble safely. And also, happy Thanksgiving to everyone who celebrates it. and I'll see you next time.